Hey there, it's JohnBerry555. Man, I haven't opened up a video that way in some time, but anyhow, this is going to be my review of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 4, Episode 4, Something Borrowed, Something Green. So the premise of this episode is it's a Tendi episode, and she basically is summoned back to her homeworld for her sister's wedding, and we actually get to learn a lot more about Tendi's backstory. Like, there were some things we knew of, We knew that she was trained by, trained in the ways of Orion piracy. We did know that. We know that that she had a grandmother one time. That was actually in Strange New Worlds of all places. Or great-grandmother? Something like that. But anyhow, like, she has a title, Mistress of the Winter Constellation, something along that line. Like more going on than we knew. But what I did like is they revealed a lot of that stuff in this episode, but also at the same time, it explained why a lot of that stuff was kept secret, because essentially Tendi was ashamed of her Orion heritage. She didn't want to be an Orion pirate and assassin. She was into science. Her sister is the one who was more into the traditional Orion stuff, so makes some sense. And basically, her family is like one of the top 5 richest Orion families, like basically Orion royalty, for lack of a better term. But like, all this came out in this episode in such a way that made sense. She didn't want to reveal that stuff. She was ashamed of it, if you will. And well, yes, she was big on that not all Orions are pirates, and she's proof of that. And I think a lot of it she didn't want to reveal about her, basically her backstory is because of that fact. She didn't want to live up to the stereotype. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy going on. She didn't want to live up to it. She didn't want to keep giving credence because she probably knows there's other Orions who would like to break out of the mold that Orion culture and the stereotypes dictate for them. And, by saying that, hey, not all Orions are pirates, that's one way of helping break down those barriers. For that of a better term. But I think, yeah, very good premise. It's also, this is very much not just a Tendi episode, but Milner and Tallinn and company. So, well, Boimler and Rutherford's story is just hilarious. So first I'm going to finish with the Milner, Tendi, and Tallinn stuff. Basically, Milner and Tallinn accompanying Tendi on this and kind of witness all this. And Tallinn is taking notes. But what I really like about it at the end is when she basically when Tendi spells out that she really doesn't want what Tallinn deserves to be in a report to basically the Starfleet or the Vulcan High Command, like more of a scientific report, a culture and topology report, that she tosses her pathway, saying it would be unethical to submit a scientific report without the consent of the subject, which is very good to see. But also, so how many Vulcans will actually do that? Honestly, like, not only is it unethical, but it's also, if you're going to be working with someone, potentially developing friendships with them, it's also unethical to, talk about them behind the backs, for lack of a better term. Just a little bit there. And of course, Mariner, there's a busy running gag, rules of the 3 going on, where 3 times Mariner gets basically a knife into her shoulder, which is hilarious. And probably because of the rules of the reason how each time she just plays it off like it was nothing. And then we also learn more about Orion pheromones. Kind of confirm that some Orion women have it, some don't. That's kind of something we were expecting. But also, kind of liked how Mariner kind of misinterpreted when Tendi saying that all Orion females don't. No, some do. But also, Tendi developed basically antidote to Orion pheromones, which is just so in her character for someone who is definitely not a big fan of the more stereotypical aspects of her own culture. But yeah, going now to Boimler and Rutherford's story is hilarious. So, as was established earlier in the season, they're now rooming together. And, like, apparently they become, even closer than they were before, like, apparently finishing each other's sentences. But anyhow, their plot basically, though, begins where they get an argument on who's going to water their bonsai tree. I think I said basically, I think I got that right. I probably got the terminology wrong. But that essentially begins their story arc. And then they argue, and then it's time for the holodeck appointment, where they're both dressed as Mark Twain. And they're still arguing, and then end up as in character as Mark Twain resolving their differences, and then they're called to the bridge. But it is just kind of hilarious. And then the series is scanning something, not super important in terms of, I think, grand scheme of things, but still important. But now there's someone there who doesn't want them to scan it, and they have a right here. Okay, have the captain of this person dressed as Mark Twain, speaking in the accent, and to resolve the differences that way. It doesn't work. And they say you gotta do the southern accent, and the guy says, "This is a southern accent." Well, they probably should have said a United States southern accent to be more specific, or the Mark Twain accent, if you will, which is not quite southern because he was a little more Missouri, not deep south, but that's a minor thing though. But so they were told no more basically same cameraman Mark Twain. So next holodeck is Mozart for them, and do the same thing again. It's just hilarious. So that guy does eat their tree, which is again also hilarious. But apparently that and getting a drink of water was enough to okay, he's satisfied and he lets the Cerritos scan. So it did work out, just not the way they were looking for. But again, it was just good fun. This episode really was some great fun, a good light-hearted episode with also some important character beats. Beats we get to learn more about who our characters are and what makes them tick. But anyhow, that is going to be the end of my review. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. But in the meantime, thank you for watching, and live long and prosper. Thank you for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like, as well as subscribe to my channel and ring that bell to stay up to date on my latest content. Also, be sure to check out the link tree in the description, as well as any other links I have down there.